Magnus Carlsen against
Grischuk and Naidov was played. So, well, I was wrong. We still watch Magnus Carlsen and Grischuk. Yeah, absolutely right. Classical world champion, the leader in this tournament against defending world Blitz champion. And yeah, early f3 was played. f3 before knight c3, then knight c6, knight 3 e5. So it's well, how it's called, trouser or some Bondarevsky, something like that. Yeah, so I used to call it 4 knights d6 Sicilian, which is more or less correct name. I mean, at least it describes the variation. But since white choice was f2, f3, he cannot play the most dangerous against normal setup. Normal move or the bishop g5 move would be the principal one. Queen d2, and now it can actually transpose into something quite Naidorfish, so to speak, after, say, a5. There are lines where white goes castle long, and in Naidov black plays a6, a5 with a tempo loss.
So he would win the tempo and he goes for
a5 immediately. Bishop b5, bishop e6 played. Bishop e6, and there is a funny plan. I don't know if it occurs on the board, but there is a funny plan for black, like to play knight a7, chasing the bishop away, then knight c8, and knight will go to b6 to go to c4 or to support d6, d5. That basically this is what will happen after a castle, I believe. It's knight to a7, black's next move. Magnus is thinking.
They are roughly equal on time, 2.5 minutes for each.
Yeah, I'm wondering if knight d5 is there. No, Magnus went for castle. Then the theoretical move is knight a7, I assume. And I don't know. Knight a7 played, right. Kicking the bishop away. And then you can play bishop e2 or bishop d3. Bishop e2. Well, the thing is, it's somewhat different. Bishop on d3 stays in the way of white pieces, so black can play d6, d5 somewhat easier. But then with bishop on e2, you don't have queen f2 move, so black can play knight c8, and knight b6 cannot be prevented. Yeah, knight c8. And there are some lines like, for instance, a4, because black not only wants knight b6, but a5, a4 as well. So a4, knight b6, rook f d1, knight c4, white will take, bishop takes, and go queen f2. I think it's sort of a theory. Bishop b5, it's an attempt to go for repetition. Not that he wants a draw, but maybe he reconsiders. Maybe he wants his bishop on d3 instead of a2.
Maybe.
Instead of e2.
No,
bishop e2. No.
E2.
He's kind of fine with a draw, it seems. Knight c8. Or he will still go for this line I've mentioned, a4 and rook f d1.
I've never seen Magnus Carlsen making a quick draw, especially
with the white pieces,
with the white
right?
pieces.
I mean, he did this in World Championship, but it was
his strategy.
Kind of a special occasion, right? But here, in the middle of a tournament where it's not clear if it's good or bad to make a draw, and okay, nobody makes a draw that quickly in the Blitz game,
But
he goes for it. Bishop
and Grischuk
b5.
considers whether he should accept it.
Well, it's a psychological game as well, because Grischuk is 2 points down. Behind, yes. 2 points behind Magnus Carlsen. So Magnus,
and twice the time. Look at the clock.
Twice the time up.
1 minute for Magnus and 2 minutes for Alexander.
No, the problem is that you don't have so many moves in this position. Yeah, and it's just a draw for without a move, and it's a quick draw between Grischuk and Magnus Carlsen. Magnus Carlsen being white. We have to switch immediately to Sergei Karyakin. His game against Nakamura is still in progress.
The position, Magnus smiling and Grischuk as well. So,
yeah.
What do you think they are talking about?
I don't know. Discussing the opening line, apparently. Well, look at the position. The structure suggests it was something similar what Magnus played against whom it was. Against Jan Nepomniachtchi. I mean, this ef6 Caro-Kann. That's what I assume was played here.
Actually, I can check and tell you.
So now it looks, well, that white played it.
It was exactly the same opening as
so white played it
Carlsen.
correctly, so he managed to keep the majority. on the queen side. Even though black pieces got quite active. So takes, bishop to c5, attacking f2, and practically... no, it's not really attacking f2. What was played? Knight to f1, attacking the rook. Did he blunder this one? I think he did. I think he did, because if you retreat the rook, bishop b3 would win a piece. Right, so bishop b... No, come on. I'm not sure who has blundered. Wait, bishop on c4 is hanging. Karyakin has blundered. I mean, now he's in trouble because black is getting 2 pieces, right? Well, he can retreat the bishop from c4, try to retreat the bishop from c4 to a2, and after bishop a5 to play rook e2. But he doesn't seem to win the piece back anyway. Bishop d5, yeah, somehow I kind of missed this square. Of course, it's much stronger than bishop a2.
Yes, and the bishop will be defended when you go rook e2 and you want to take on d2, so there's no bishop b3.
Oh, yeah. So it's still Karyakin who is winning. I'm changing this all the time. But look, he's on 22 seconds. Now, bishop d5 is a nice move. I completely missed it. I don't know. So, Nakamura...
Controlling the d2 knight completely.
Yeah, I think it was Nakamura who forced this. Look. Meanwhile, he manages to keep...
Oh, what?
Yeah, bishop c7, rook d1, the same motive, bishop h6. But now white takes another pawn on b7. White can take another pawn on b7, black's majority, or can play f4, which is a clever move.
Yes, threatening
f4.
to win a piece.
Yeah, and you don't have... well, I mean, it's really tough to run away from it. Bishop is locked on h6, g5 immediately by Hikaru Nakamura, trying to organize any sort of counterplay. Attack, yeah, the knight was attacked, knight went to b3, planning to take on a5. There is no time for Karyakin, that's the problem. He has difficulties on the clock as well. Knight a5. Look how fast Nakamura is. I mean, he plays like a lightning, those moves, like, oops, and it's already there. And he has captured the pawn. It's not like he simply moved the piece. The pawn on a5 disappeared. I don't know if you can have a, you know,
we need a
second look. Yeah, we need a replay, because the pawn on a5 simply disappeared. It's like one movement over his hand, and already it's knight on a5, the clock is pressed, and where's the pawn, I don't know. Well, what about the position, though? Bishop e8. Doesn't look like he's in a great shape here. Rook b6, so 2 connected passed pawns and the rook against 2 minor pieces. Knight still has difficulties coming back in the game. Bishop b5, exchanging the bishops is really a nice move by Sergei Karyakin. Okay, still won't be that easy. Remember, knight is a tricky piece. Won't be that easy for Karyakin to win this one. Bishop h6, b3, no, king d3, knight d6. So not to blunder a check on the 6th rank. Rook h5, knight f5. The rook is sort of locked.
And will be locked.
And will be locked. b4.
Yes, but those pawns on the queen side are more
if you try to run with the king, like king f6, king g6, you are probably losing. And you are losing as well, like that. Bishop g7, b5. How do you stop this pawn?
Yes, he doesn't even care about the c3 pawn. It's all about promoting the b.
Yeah, you have to take the c pawn. Knight d6, perhaps. Bishop a5. Bishop c7, and then you can safely take on h7. And no, it's not safe.
That he's not promoting the pawn.
It's not safe. I thought you just take, but now Naka is about to take b7. Now Nakamura will probably not lose this one. I don't think he's gonna lose, even though his pieces are not very comfortable. One more time. What to do here? And he's also down to 10 seconds. Knight c5. King d6.
But
it's kind of going into the wrong direction, but he found this knight f6 thing. Well, it might be, yeah. So now h7, you'll be forced to give the knight away. Probably king e7 was not the most clever move. h7 and bishop d6. Rook e8, check, knight e8. Aha, so he decided to play with 2 pieces against the queen. A smart decision, perhaps, because... Yeah. Once again, keeping the knight.
Yes, I was going to say
not giving
that
the knight away.
There's still winning chance for black as well. Not objectively, of course.
Yeah, but so 2 times repeated. 93.
Oh, it's on the
and
board.
he's winning.
I've just said it's not objective, but there it is.
Well, what a drama. That was huge blunder by Sergei Karyakin. Wow. And Nakamura was waiting for his chance. What a clever decision to keep the knight. Yes. What a clever decision. There is a recipe.
That was a huge blunder by Sergei Karyakin. But on the other hand, he has won at least 2 games because of the knight 4.
Yeah, absolutely. There is a recipe for those who have queen and the king against knight, some minor pieces. Keep your king and queen on the squares of a different color, and at least you'll never blunder a knight fork. And here we have queens ending, white's pawn up, and apparently winning. Well, completely winning now.
This is board 1, Tang Zhongyi and Alexandra Kostenyuk.
That's the... Kostenyuk is with the black pieces, right?
Yes.
Kostenyuk is, of course, she's continuing with the checks, queen e4, and now it will be counter check. Counter check, and the win after queen h1 and queen g2, made in a couple of moves. So Tang Zhongyi wins
in the women's tournament.
Yeah, wins against Alexandra Kostenyuk. Not a good start of the day.
Let's go to Peter and interview Hikaru.
So yeah, we're here with Hikaru Nakamura after a crazy end of this game with Sergei Karyakin. What happened there?
Yeah, it was a strange game. I mean, I thought I was winning, then he was probably winning. It was a very back and forth game. And yeah, at the end, probably Sergei was winning. I mean, he found this really nice idea with this rook h8, h6, h7, and I kind of just had to be practical and let him queen. But still, it was a very interesting game. I mean, I was a little bit lucky, but sometimes you need a little bit of luck. I mean, I know some of the other players have been getting really lucky as well, so that's how it goes.
Yeah, and of course, a huge blunder. His reaction was like this.
Yeah, but I mean, we both had like 5 seconds, and I mean, it's very hard because he's trying to win, but I mean, it's a position that requires technique as well, so it's very tricky. But yeah, I mean, he blundered, but I mean, okay, we've all made a lot of blunders at certain times in the Blitz event, so it happens. But a long way to go, of course.
Yeah, of course, you had your big game with Magnus Carlsen as well, and you were both smiling after it ended. Just a very short description, maybe, of how that went.
Yeah, I mean, Magnus was on the right side, and then it seemed like he was trying to press, maybe in a position where he shouldn't have, but it was still very close to equal. So I mean, draw is a pretty standard result.
Okay, thanks a lot. Get some rest. Hikaru Nakamura, he won a queen after a huge blunder by Sergei Karyakin. Back to the studio.